Yo, happy Tuesday, guys. Another 2-Minute Tuesday coming at you. Today, we got Gabe Anderson with us, and we're going to be talking about how to extract bigger premiums from the sale.
Let's go. Couple things with bigger premiums. I'm going to just say, like, how can you guys increase your average premium? I see a lot of agents coming in, just starting out, really trending around like that $100 mark, maybe even a little bit less, maybe like 120, just, not really getting into the $100, $200, $300 range as far as premiums on a consistent basis.
Why?
It's a mindset thing. So when I worked at Jimmy John's, I didn't want to upsell people cheese for 50 cents because I was broke. And I was like, oh no, people wouldn't want to buy more cheese. They would always tell us to upsell it. And I never did because I was like, I would never get cheese. Like, I would never pay an extra 50 cents for that. And so I wouldn't tell it to clients. And a lot of new agents are looking at it from their pockets and not the clients.
Showing what the client they could afford.
Yes. And they're also looking at it the wrong way. They're selling on price and not value. And so when you're a new agent, you think you're really helping the client by getting them the cheapest thing possible, which can be good in certain cases, but most of the time the cheapest is not the best.
Correct.
And so they're not selling based on the actual value. And so one way to increase your average premium is to go through the client situation and truly dig out what is valuable to them and why are they looking into this? Why do they need this coverage? And what I found just now, like before this talk, 20 minutes ago.
Just close the deal. Like, went from closing the deal straight to the podcast.
Was an 84-year-old woman on Social Security, fixed income, tight budget. And I'm going through, and oftentimes when I hear stuff like that, I'm thinking, all right, it's going to be cheap, like just trying to bring it all the way down. But I gave her a wide range of options. I truly found out like why she really wanted to do this. And she ended up choosing an option that was $200 a month, which is a lot more than most people would in her situation. And I tested her on it a few times and I was like, are you sure it's comfortable? Are you sure it's affordable? This works. And she kept explaining why she wanted this coverage for her daughters. And it made all the sense in the world why $200 does not compare to what this policy is going to do for her family. And so we need to stop selling on price and start selling on value. So instead of like, hey, Mary, it's going to be $50 a month. You're going to get this much coverage. It's, hey, Mary, when you're no longer here, this policy is going to pay out to your kids. It's going to pay off the home. And then they're going to be able to have that home without any payments. Okay. It's going to pay out this much. It's $50 a month. Okay. When you're telling the clients what the policy is actually going to do for their family and what that looks like so that they can paint the vision in their head, they start to see it and then they see the value of the plan. Okay. Because life insurance is not a tangible product. So they need to be able to see how this plays into their life.
They see it as a benefit, not just a bill.
Exactly. And that's the other thing with new agents is obviously nobody wants another bill. And I think sometimes people have trouble selling it because they know like just the state of the economy and people are on tighter budgets. But if you think about it, Jonah, their home insurance, their car insurance, every bill they have is probably over $100. So why are we trying to cheap out on the most important bill that they're going to have, which is like one of the only bills that's actually going to pay them and pay their family?
Boom. That's a bomb.
Yeah. I mean, especially because your home insurance, car insurance, health insurance, even your phone bill can be upwards of $100. And your life insurance is going to be more valuable than all of those. And so new agents, I think they actually devalue the product by showing clients options that are so cheap.
And what's funny is I used to think that if I sold bigger premiums, they would cancel. They'd be more likely to cancel. It's actually the complete opposite. It's always the $50, $60 premiums that cancel. Dude, those policies that I've sold, and I'm a living testament of this because I can go back on my books and look at my persistency reports. The policy there was $250, $300, $500 a month. Those are all on the books, baby. Those stick because they see the value. Because it goes from $60, Mutual of Omaha, what is this? I forgot about cancel that versus like you really build the value and why they need it, and they're paying $300 a month for it, dude, they're like, that's important to them, and they're gonna keep that.
Yeah. And I think also a lot of people, when they, are selling these policies that are $50-$60 a month. I mean, for example, I had a client that was making like $10,000 a month, which is pretty good. He was pretty young, so it wasn't going to be much anyways. And he really needed it. Like his wife, like they needed the home to be paid off because he didn't really have many other assets that could pay out to his family if something happened. And he was young, and I showed him an option for like $50 to cover the whole mortgage. And you could tell that he just saw no value in it. Even though it was so cheap, I knew he could afford it. Like, obviously he can afford it. It's $50. He's making way more than that. Yeah. But I knew he just like did not value it the same way. And so I made a mistake there by trying to get him the cheapest thing. And I thought that it would just be an easy sale if I could show him something that, hey, it's $50, but $50 doesn't go very far. And you got to think too, especially if you're trying to drag out bigger premiums. One thing that you've talked about, which I think about in every presentation, is these clients are going to be spending money on a lot of other things that are just not important. Yes. I mean, if you think about just your life in general, I know for me, I spend money on things that I certainly don't need to. And I can make room for things that are more important. And I think that's everybody's situation. And it's hard because we obviously don't know the people that we're talking to over the phone. We're just meeting them for the first time. But they're just like everybody else. They're buying junk food at the gas station. Some of them are buying cigarettes. Some of them are putting money here, putting money there. They're like buying things that they don't need. And so I've noticed that the price objection almost like is not really real. It's almost something that's just kind of like,
it's a facade.
It's kind of like baked into the presentation. I feel like from the agent standpoint.
Everyone can afford it. It's not that they can't afford it. It's just they don't see the value.
Exactly. And they don't make it work for their budget.
And another thing, since we're on price, a specific tangible example would be, and one switch I made that changed the game for me was in equity protection appointments. I used to go in and I used to roll in and be like, hey, Mary, so what we're going to do is, we're going to look at 1 to 2 years of mortgage payments because covering the full mortgage is too expensive, doesn't make sense, and this is what you need. Where, I still explain that, but I will also show them the full mortgage. And when I started showing them the full mortgage, it changed the game. And it helped me tremendously because when you show them because I would have clients where they would look at it, I would show them the options, they'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to think about it. They obviously don't need to think about it. We all know that that's fake. No one's going to think about it. But they were like, in the back of their mind, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to keep looking at other options and I'm going to find what I'm looking for because this person does not have what I'm looking for. Versus if I show them, all right, Mary, so write down the first option. It's going to be the full mortgage coverage. And it's going to be $1,300 a month. All right. And then the second option we're looking at is going to be 2 years of mortgage payments for $130 a month. And then so on and so forth. So most of the time they look at that. They're like, oh, okay, he has what I want. Oh, that's too expensive. And then they come to the conclusion themselves of, oh, that's not going to make sense.
Yes.
And then because Joe Basso says this 100 times, got this from him. He's like, everything you say as a salesperson is suspect. Everything the client says is gold. So you want them to think that they came to the conclusion, not you telling them. Because if you're telling them, it's just going to be friction. So let them come to that. And then about 10-15% of the time, they're going to want to cover the full mortgage. And it's going to be a $10,000, $12,000 sale. But you're never going to get those huge sales if you don't show numbers. We just had Matt yesterday closed a $14,000 sale. He would not have closed that $14,000 sale if he wouldn't have shown the client large numbers. Where I show big options almost every appointment I go into, because when Hormozy says if you're showing a client an option and it doesn't make them gasp, you're not showing big enough numbers. So it also helps anchor the other two numbers to make them seem more practical and more affordable.
Yeah, I do use that. And I've started using that more lately and it's helped so much.
Yes.
But back to that $14,000 sale, most people would, because that's exactly what we're talking about. Most people would be like, oh, why is someone spending that much money on insurance? But what we forget is that this is what the client values. Like, this is way more important to the client than $14,000 a year. Way more important. and we can't have our own judgments about, you know, what the clients think. We need the clients to, exactly like you said, tell us what they think and what they need, because what you say is suspect, what they say is gold. And back to that lady I just helped, she went the biggest option, and then she asked to actually see bigger options. So like, I didn't do
that. I almost never say that. That really shows me.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, Mary, like, but you know, it's got to be comfortable and affordable. She ended up going with the original option that was the highest. But still, you never know. You don't want to put your own expectations on a client's budget and a client's situation.
Bro, I love this. I could talk about this all day. I want to add one more thing, and then I'll let you wrap this up, Gabe. But it's also because that lady you had is like that's extremely rare. Mm-hmm. But you can always, when you start high, you can always work your way back down. But it's really hard to work your way up.
Yeah. If
you start too low.
Exactly. To wrap it up, bro, I'll just say this: sell on value, not on price. Don't assume this is the client's situation financially and what they value.
Boom. This was huge. Guys, if you found this helpful, please like and share with someone else that would take value from this video. Have a blessed week.